Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello. We are here, and we have questions. No, we don't have the questions. The people have the questions. We have the answers? Maybe.
We have answers, and I suppose, I hope, I fear, but I long for them to satiate the questionable knowledge. No, the knowledgeable but questioning. No, wait. How am I want to spin it? You know what? Forget it. I screwed up the segue. These come from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. What do you want? We've been doing this for 7 months this year already. I'm tired. Let's just do the questions. Ask me stuff, Kyle. I'll give you answers.
I'm gonna ask you these questions so hard, Ian. It's gonna be you're gonna be like, dang, questions. Holy crap, questions.
Bring it. I ain't skirt.
Stop with these questions. Or don't. Actually, don't stop with the questions, please. Anyway, Arc Beetles, starting us off. During Gay June, I have asked questions in past BumbleKasts about Gay Clove, Gay Amy, and Lesbian Mobians, aka Gay Girl Mobians. How would you rate my gayness? Have I been too gay? Have I been not gay enough?
I am not in a position to judge anyone's gayness.
No, neither of us are qualified to do so.
If you are comfortable with who you are, how you are, then that's all the validation you need.
Yes, you don't have to be gay just because it's June. Or you can be. You can be whatever you want. I ain't gonna stop you. Don't let me stop you. Don't let us stop you. Definitely don't let Ian Flynn stop you. Jeez. And we got a question from Artie Stroke. After some serious introspection about gender, a member of the Restoration has figured out that they'd much rather be a girl. Could be a main cast member, recurring minor character, or background rando. Doesn't really matter. The question is, who among our amazing ladies would give the best, worst, or funniest advice, or help for the new girl to live her truth? Does Tangle schedule an over-the-top shopping trip / spa day combo? Does Rouge just so happen to have some gem earrings on hand that go great with her eyes? Don't ask where she got them. They're totally legit. Will Lanolin fast-track any identification paperwork?
That one seems the most on the mark.
Yeah.
No, character in question is nervously approaching Lanolin, who's a very stickler for keeping things, by the book and nice and orderly, and changing up your identity. That's a big to do. So just letting you know, I'm transitioning. She goes, "Oh, well, good for you. Oh, so glad you're taking them. Here's all the paperwork you need to file out. You need to go here. Oh,
yes. We've done this process
thank you for
before.
organizing it for me. You're welcome.
We've done this process before. I think Amy's the one who would more likely be a shopping trip spa day combo.
Oh yeah,
kind of person. Yeah.
And then the question is just how traditionally feminine does this character want to be? Maybe they don't want to go full girly. Maybe they prefer more tomboy. And Amy's like, oh well, I mean, we're still having fun, aren't we?
I mean, Amy can do that too. Why not?
I mean, I think the only cast member who wouldn't really have a lot of good advice would be Whisper, because I don't think it really registers with her. It's just, you are what you are. She hasn't thought about her own identity that much. She just is. So you're you.
Well, there you go.
Somehow that's kind of empowering, I guess, in a way, in an indirect, awkward, kind of navel-gazing sort of way. But, it might work. I don't know.
I don't know either. Once again, we are not qualified.
No, not remotely.
No. We are not qualified, but you are. You, listening, you are qualified to know yourself. Chaos Sonic 1 has a question. What was your headcanon of the Black Arm's physiology? Because I'm generally curious.
Personally, I like to envision them as basically an extension of one organism. I would draw a parallel to the Zerg out of StarCraft. Black Doom's the overlord, overmind, whatever that eyeball thing was. And everything else is more or less an extension of his will. That the Black Arms aren't necessarily individuals, as they're just remote body parts, kind of technically. And that if Black Doom got offed at any point, he could be reborn through any one of them. But that's me. That's my take. And who knows if we'd ever actually see that fulfilled in any way.
I figured their physiology was that they had black arms.
They always look more charcoal gray to me, even brown, but what do I know?
Well, I mean, you got to have a little bit of shading in there to make sure it's not like you don't just turn it into a black inky, like no light. You got to have some.
Shadow.
You got to have some shades. You know, you got to have some shading.
Shadow is distinctly black, though, in comparison to them.
Yeah, but he also has those red highlights.
Yeah, and they've got like kind of reddish marks on them too.
Yeah.
My point is, Shadow's game had very muddy texture, so what we really need is a full-on HD remaster of his game. Yeah.
Are you
with extra story paths and even more endings?
Maybe not that. Maybe not that. Also, are you confirming a remake? Is this a hashtag knowing smile moment? Please.
No, I'm not.
Let's make sure. Okay, let's make sure we make that clear. Comic the Hedgehog has a question. Shadow said in a Twitter takeover that he wanted to open up a stray cat orphanage and that he has a soft spot for adorable little kittens. If this cat orphanage ever happened, what would it be like? Would the cats love Shadow as much as he loves them?
Yeah, because I imagine he'd be very much a cat person. He's not going to actively seek their affection, and they're not going to actively seek his. But if he's just sitting there, reading a book, eating some coffee beans, and they happen to curl up on him, he's not going to shoo them away. So it works out.
What a weirdo.
I imagine it's a nice enough place. I mean, not a ton of creature comforts, no real interior decorating to speak of, but he's not building it for anyone else. It's for the cats. They have beds, they have water, they have litter boxes, they have food. They're fine. There's toys around.
Ironic that there would be no creature comforts for, creatures.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Amy would kind of go inside and go, do you need an interior decorator? And he's like, no. But it's so sparse. The cats like it. Yes, but I don't. Are you a cat? No. Then get out.
I don't know why. Why is that so funny? What if Blaze went in there?
Oh, she's already on the lounge one. It's fine, Amy.
Oh, okay. Then get out. Sometimes I like Shadow. This is one of those times. Hey, we got a question from Dove. So there was a bit of a mix-up in casting for the next year of IDW. They got Cream the Rabbit back, but instead of bringing back Vanilla, someone hired a Jessica Rabbit. She had previous acting experience after all. How well or poorly does this go? Does Vanilla get her job back? Or who does Vanilla make pay for this mistake?
I like to imagine almost nobody notices. Jessica's dressed as Vanilla.
Yeah.
She's wearing little rabbit ears. She plays the part as I would imagine Jessica would. At most, Sonic's like, Madonna? No. Oh, sorry. You reminded me of an ex. My bad.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. That's a good point.
Vector kind of looks over and he's kind of disappointed. He misses the old Vanilla. Okay. They can work together, I guess. Show must go on. It's fine.
That's not Vanilla.
Really. But yeah, it's just a minor, contractual goof up. Maybe Vanilla didn't maternity leave. Cream's not her actual daughter. She just plays one on TV.
I'm glad Vector's loyal. I guess we know who the father is then. E200 Paragon has a question. We all know that Sonic is described as a force of nature, but unlike what Capcom seems to think, nature isn't always about coexistence and harmony. Sometimes nature just randomly decides to screw you over with a freak disaster and there's nothing you can do about it. We've seen the characters fend off a forest fire to crank up the heat. But to crank up the heat, my question is this. How would the IDW cast handle the eruption of a volcano in a populated area, much like in the 1997 film of the same name?
There's a movie called Populated Area?
No, there's a movie called Volcano, but it is kind of funny. It is worded kind of funny. It's the Volcano, 1997. I'm trying to remember. A volcano erupts in the middle of LA. That's what happens with Tommy Lee Jones.
I prefer I prefer my disaster movie called Populated Area.
I mean, I guess that's...
In a world where people do everyday things, going about their day like normal people, this is a populated area.
Not anymore.
Well, I mean, I would imagine they would generally respond as anyone would to a sudden volcanic eruption, which is screaming and flailing and fleeing and trying not to burn alive. It's a kind of universal reaction.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, okay. I like the... So I'm looking up Volcano. 1997's film. Great film, Volcano. One of the best films ever. And I like how one of the taglines for the movie is, "The coast is toast."
That is a good line.
That is good.
That's a very good line.
That is good. That's very good. The other one is, "It's hotter than hell," which is not nearly as good. "The coast is toast" is pretty stellar. Not gonna lie. Oh, geez. This is... I miss 90s disaster flicks. We don't have them anymore.
No.
So sad.
No.
Oh, well.
Anyway, everyone the initial reaction is fear and panic. Then they rush around trying to help as many people as they can as things get out of control. And then whatever it was that Eggman did to cause this volcano to erupt, it reveals that it's some kind of eldritch horror. Sonic grabs the Chaos Emerald, supersonic fight. You know how this goes.
I was going to say, this isn't just a regular volcano eruption in the middle of a city. There's certainly some kind of monster coming out of this volcano as well.
Fool, you know nothing. It's Bedlam, the god of destruction. We've already had like 3 of these, Doc.
Yeah, well...
This one's fiery. We already had one of those. I think I don't remember.
Uh-oh. Oh, well. Tried and true, you know. Fang the Werehog has a question. This question is from my friend Nova Estrella. Every writer has their preferences on what they wish to accomplish within a narrative. Some like to showcase the wonders of the world, some like to make emphasis on the thrills of the story, etc. What is the element of a narrative that you value the most? And in the Sonic franchise, how do you apply it at the time of writing comics for IDW or in the games?
It depends on what the story is. Some stories, the focus is more on tying elements together. Some of them, it's the focus on the characters and moving them in a new direction or having them overcome something either physically or emotionally. Other times it's just to have a, guttural reaction, something cool. Like in particular, the Sonic and Neo Metal Sonic fight from like issue 7. That was to, one, move the plot forward and establish who the villain was for the arc, but it was also just to look kick ass.
And it did both very well. All right, here's a question from Hearts 13. Alternate worlds collide. If there were parallel realities of the Archie Sonic universe where Dr. Ivo Robotnik teamed up with other scientists from unparalleled realities to create the perfect Super Genesis wave, one hypothetical team-up would be with Dr. Neo Cortex and his lackeys. How would this version of Worlds Collide work if the world of Archie Sonic crossed over with Crash Bandicoot instead of Archie Mega Man? Pretty sure we've done something like this.
I'm 99% sure. So please make sure to check out the master list before submitting questions, because I am super certain we've done a Mario Crash Bandicoot crossover at some point, because I remember saying I don't know much of anything about Crash, so I can't really speculate.
Yeah.
Like I think we said Coco and Tails would geek out.
Oh, yeah.
Sonic and Crash would manage to, be sassy, even though Crash doesn't talk.
Crash doesn't talk, but he's got spunk. He's got personality in spades. He'll be fine.
So I can't really riff on this because I don't know Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. Well, I think Neo Cortex and Ivo, Eggman, and Robotnik would be quite the team. They might like each other at first, Maybe not quite as bros as Wily and Eggman were, but I think Cortex would be fun. And of course, they would have to betray each other because, it's what villains do. Internet person has a question. In a recent Twitter post on the Sonic Twitter, Sonic is wearing swim trunks despite the fact that male Sonic characters don't wear pants. Is this because they are swim trunks? Are they just ditching the part of the Sonic art style for no reason, or am I overlooking a silly Twitter image?
A little bit of the first, probably mostly the last.
We got to show it summer somehow, I guess. I'm glad they put some pants on that boy for once, at least.
I mean, it's a little cooler than putting like swimmies on his arms. That doesn't quite say I'm going for a swim in the cool Sonic way. You got to do something.
Yeah, we know Sonic's not actually cool. He's pretty full of himself, but it's fine. We'll let him have his slight bit of edge that Shadow then immediately comes in and steals for himself. It's fine. And here's one from JCR1216. Somebody bullies Silver and makes him cry. In different instances, how do Whisper, SBO, Tangle, Surge, and Blaze deal with the bully?
Well, Whisper, SBO, and Blaze are all going to do the same thing.
Kill them.
Which is to say, remove the bully.
Yes.
Tangle will give
a little bit of murder.
Yeah. Tangle will give him a stern talking to and try to get an apology out of him. And if that doesn't work, then, that tail can wallop someone right between the eyes pretty darn well.
Yeah. Hurt them real bad. Not kill them, though, like the other three would do.
Surge beats him up because that was her mark, damn it.
I was going to say, isn't Surge the one bullying him?
She had plans this Saturday and you ruined them.
Rude. And we got a question from Many Hats. Does the Sonic series actually take place entirely within a year? Many people say this, but I noticed that often fan stuff taking you or Kyle say as a joke, assume it's completely serious and then spread it out of context if you don't immediately clarify. Please don't do that with anything I say. Jesus. Don't take anything I say with anything outside of the most massive grain of salt you can imagine.
We joke about it because the number of events that happen with what is presented to us in terms of time just cannot add up sensibly.
Yeah, no.
So, no, I don't think they actually all happen within a single year because there is no solid progression of time.
Well, we also don't know how long a year is on Sonic's world.
Yeah.
Like a year could be 15 or 20 years in our timeline. 35 years even. Maybe Sonic will finally turn 16 this year. But no, I think the thing is that it's always classic Sonic's supposed to take place in the past when he was 15. But now he's modern, current Sonic, who is also 15. So you're not supposed to think about it too hard. So, and we got a question from Mighty the Mobius Historian. Question for Ian. As you know, Knuckles' movie dad had no name in the film. If he had the power to do it, what name would you give Knuckles' dad for the film universe?
I'm not sure.
Elbows.
On the one hand, I would maybe want to take a cue from, Pachacamac and Tikal and find something related to that area and the history, but I was kind of worried that's kind of appropriation. Just because the culture's dead doesn't necessarily mean you can mine it for all your ideas. I don't know. That's a touchy subject for some folks. But it would feel weird to name him Papa Punchy or something. That's the problem with these characters is that, when they're introduced, they work, they're fine. And, Knuckles, you get past the fact that he's named after a body part. And you just accept his name is Knuckles.
Yeah.
How do you build off of that? When you introduce anybody else, it's what do you call him? There was a long discussion over what to name Trip, but for that exact reason, it's what sounds right, and you can just accept it, but also fits with the Sonic theme. So it would be tricky. I don't know off the cuff what I would call Papa Punchy for real.
Elbows, obviously. I mean, what else? Night Fury Lover 31 has a question. Strawberry shortcake sucks. That line from the Sonic Twitter takeover that rocked fans points to Roger hamming it up. My question is, do you think Sonic really doesn't like strawberry shortcake, or does he just like to tease Amy? It's one way to get her to chase him again.
I think the funniest option is that he really is deeply and philosophically against strawberry shortcake.
Wow.
He's just super cool about just about everything else, but for some reason, he is moralistically opposed to the very concept of strawberry shortcake. I think that's funny.
That's weird. That's weird. I mean, that's Amy's favorite thing. Why would he? I don't know. It's weird. Let's see. Hold on. Strawberry shortcake. Like, what's wrong with strawberry shortcake? I mean, I'm not a huge fan of strawberries, but strawberry shortcake's pretty good. I don't know. What does Sonic think about strawberries?
It'd be even funnier if he's perfectly fine with those.
I was gonna say, if he likes strawberries and shortcake separately, but you put them together and he's out.
Put them together.
No, never. Do not want. That's silly.
Put them together, he completely loses his chill. Why? Because it's funny. That's why.
Well, all right. I mean, I can get behind that. You know me. And we got one from Noni. I know I asked this before, but technically, I'd love to hear more dinosaur answers. What are the questions? No idea, but dinosaurs are cool.
Yeah, they are. I don't even remember what I went nuts over last time.
They have big, sharp teeth, some of them. Other ones, they have less sharp teeth, more for plant chewing rather than for, ripping and rending of flesh.
Did I go off on my usual rambling tangent about the Troodon last time?
I'm sure you did.
Okay.
I'm sure you did something. You talked about Dino. You talked about dinos.
Okay. I really like the Troodon. It's so cool, but I don't want to, do the old man telling his same stories over and over again. So
why not? That's what this show's all about, isn't it? I mean, it's answering the same questions over and over again.
Now, something I find personally very entertaining is the evolution of the public perception and understanding of the Spinosaurus specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when I was a wee lad, there was a line of play school dinosaurs that were very sturdy constructed things, because these things were meant to be bashed into rocks and against each other. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were marvelous in their construction. And the Spinosaurus in that had this small, narrow, almost tortoise-like head, a very simple upright body. Well, this was back when they still were generally thinking most of your theropods were walking upright and bouncing that way, which seems so silly nowadays. And had just a very basic uniform half circle sail on the back, and it was a very cool, like, orange and rust color paint job. But you look at what it's thought of today as this kind of hunched over, almost crocodilian thing with this uneven sail, and that instead of tromping around the generic swamp that everyone thought dinosaurs were in at the time, it was more of a river monster, and the long elongated face and the snaggle teeth. It's fun to see how the perception has moved over time.
Boy, that's terrifying.
You go back to the very earliest concepts of, like, the iguanodon, when they had no idea what they had. They rendered this big chunky lumposaurus with the thumb claw on the end of the nose, because where else would it go? And then fast forward a few decades, and now, okay, it's this upright thing, giving everyone a perpetual thumbs up as it walks around and eats the tops of trees. It's like, no, it couldn't balance like that. You literally have to break apart the skeleton's tail to have it stand like that. It makes more sense that it was mostly quadrupedal. And then you have it make more sense as it's walking along its fingertips. And you have the big swipey claws to come out almost like a panda strike. And
dinosaurs are cool.
They had an exhibit here at the ROM, the Royal Ontario Museum, for a bit. They have a fantastic fossil dinosaur, ancient mammal setup anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a limited time event focusing on Gondwana, the old supercontinent that was South America and Africa. And a couple of the exhibits, they had a full-on skeleton, and then they had this like iPad type device on a swivel arm, and you could raise it up and it would put a augmented reality skin over the skeleton relative to where you were pointing. So the thing would be like breathing and looking at you, and you could look all up and down the body. And only one was working at the time because people break stuff all, but what was there, the concept was really cool.
Very nice.
I think it was a Carnotaurus on display. which, you look at those tiny little sausage arms and go, tee-hee, that's silly looking. And then you look at his face and it's like, oh, he could eat me in one bite.
Tasty.
Yum,
yum. Dinosaurs are cool. I like them. They are big. They have sharp teeth. They have claws. They have feathers sometimes.
Mostly the dromaeosaurs, maybe some of the theropods, but
yeah.
And I see some folks say, raptors aren't cool anymore. Now they look like birds. And it's like, dude, no.
I was going to say, have you seen chickens?
you took the awesome, knife rack with a vendetta and you gave it the Batman cape glide.
Yeah.
With look at any hawk or eagle and how cool they look.
Yeah.
Now give it a full set of knives in its face, on its hands, and its feet. How is that not better? Forget scientific accuracy or blah, blah, blah. It looks fantastic.
Well, they're freaking chickens, and chickens are freaking nightmares.
Oh, yeah, they're vicious.
Yeah. Chickens will, it's a good thing they're small, because if they weren't, chickens would, rule the world. Pretty sure. They would have taken us out ages ago.
Have you ever been within striking distance of, an emu or a cassowary?
Yeah, no. They will push your crap in, for no doubt. Yeah.
I remember there was this special talking about, what sound did the Tyrannosaurus make? And it was something that you could have said in 10 minutes and they spread it over a half hour, but whatever. And the conclusion that the episode made was that it didn't make the big elephant roar that they have in Jurassic Park. It probably would have made more of a rumble like your modern crocodile.
Yeah.
And some folks responded to him going, that's kind of lame. That's not nearly as scary. It's like, no. Again, have you been near an emu or a cassowary? Have you heard that terrifying deep-chested rumble they make?
Yes, they're freaking no joke.
Now, magnify that 10 times. That's pants-sweating terrifying. You're out in the middle of the Cretaceous forest, mind your own business, and then you very distantly you hear this faint thump, like maybe something in the closet fell behind you, and you don't really know what it is, and then you just hear this low rumble that actually shakes your sternum in your chest.
And probably damages your ears, literally.
Yeah.
At that size, yeah.
And then this big Mother Hubbard comes around the corner and, again, can eat you in one bite. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even the biggest one. You want to go something like another Tyrannosaurus, it's even bigger, like the Crocodontosaurus out of all, I think it was in Gondwana before the separation. Maybe I'm wrong, but I may not even be saying that right. But, oh my God, like T-Rex, but bigger. We're going to do the entire episode of dinosaurs if we don't stop.
Now. We better stop. Yeah. No, dinosaurs are awesome. And I'm here for chicken dinos, to be honest with you. I bet they taste delicious.
Dude, they did gene experimentation. They could have had chickens with teeth. They found how to turn that gene back on.
Let's not.
You can buy a functional CRISPR station for about the price of a new car. Why are people not making dinosaurs right now?
Let's not.
I know there's 6 movies out there that were big budget that tell us why we don't. But, and hear me out, you can make dinosaurs in your garage from chicken eggs. Come on.
Let's not. Don't get any ideas, anybody listening. Don't.
No, take all the ideas. Take all of them, run with them.
No.
Look, I know it's not a question of whether or not we could. It's a question of whether or not we should. We absolutely shouldn't. But, counterpoint, yes.
We need to move on before this gets out of hand. Ian Flynn advises returning to dinosaurs. Oh boy, you're gonna kill us all, Flynn. We're all gonna die.
We gotta go. At least let's go in the most metal way possible.
I mean, all right, I'm down. Let's do this question from normal person before we take a break. And oh boy, we're gonna need a break. Mad Mike the pizza chef is causing havoc by making exploding pizzas, and it's up to the Diamond Rangers, the Diamond Cutters as Power Rangers, to beat him. How would the team react to this pizza-themed monster, along with how they temporarily got stuck inside a pizza in a comically large microwave?
So they use their morphers to summon up the DINOSAURs, which are just robot dinosaurs. And let's list the dinosaurs that they are, okay?
Okay.
No.
Mastodon, which is not a dinosaur.
It is not a dinosaur.
Pterodactyl, which is a dinosaur.
It's not technically. It is a flying reptile during the period.
Okay,
Dinosaur
it's in the
is
same
a different
period.
distinction.
Yes.
At least that's how I was taught. Maybe they've broadened that selection.
Saber-toothed tiger, definitely not a dinosaur.
Not a dinosaur.
Tyrannosaurus, that's a dinosaur.
Key dinosaur, yes. Triceratops, also excellent.
Triceratops, yes. I knew I forgot one in there. Dragonzord, not a dinosaur, but should have been.
Honorable mention. Yeah, honorable mention. I mean, if we're going to make our garage CRISPR dinosaurs, we might as well give them flame breath too. I mean, come on.
I mean, yeah, true. And summon them, of course, with a flute. Well, a trumpet that is played like a flute, but is actually a dagger. Anyway.
Normal person asks their question that's not related to dinosaurs.
Yes, but it is related to Power Rangers.
It is. I think ultimately, did we settle on who these Diamond Rangers were, or are we just assuming it's the second team? No, just assume.
Let's say it's the current Diamond Cutters, the Neo Diamond Cutters.
Okay. Tangle is the one who figures out how to get out of the giant pizza in the microwave, which is to eat their way out.
I can't remember how they actually solved this one in the actual show. And yes, this is actually a thing that happened in... I was
curious. I did look. I think it was the Turbo
Power Rangers Turbo. Turbo was kind of like a parody of Super Sentai, like of itself at the time. So it's funny how the dichotomy of trying to make it a super serious show in the West versus what it ended up being is very funny.
Oh wow. But Tangle eats their way out, Whisper blows up the microwave, and Lanolin says that, ultimately he's defeated because he's 15 minutes late with their order.
Well, there you go. There you go. Speaking of being 15 minutes late, we're way, way, way deep into this episode for just to be taking a break now, but we're going to do it. So take a break and we'll be back with more on this BumbleKast.
This ad break is sponsored by JCR1216. From Scuffed Studios, JCR1216, some idiots join Josh, a quirked up white boy with a little swag, and his talking dog Sparky, along with their cast of old friends Parker, Brandon, Riley, and a guy named Zane. Or is it Zane with a Y? Josh can't figure it out! Watch as they do the stupidest things ever done on television, inspired by early YouTube sketch comedies like Smosh and the buddy feel of the web show Ed's World. They promise unhinged humor and are truly one of the shows of all time. Don't miss out on the pure angst and cringe humor reminiscent of fanfiction you wrote in high school, cranked up to friggin' 11. Season 1 is out now, with Season 2 coming very soon. But at the end of the day, it's Josh and his friends trying to survive being themselves as they navigate the mental headaches of high school, social media, and the double standards of a greedy world. Some Idiots is rated TV-14 for strong language, brief violence, and suggestive references. There's also a full, unbleeped version on Patreon for just $2.99. If you don't want to watch the cringe fest, and Josh won't blame you, just go and give the show your support on IMDb. That's right, inflate the ratings, just like Josh's ego. Bazongo, my fellow gamers. We're back, and we're starting off with our weekly giveaway question. Every week, our followers over on Blue Sky, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook may get a chance to have a question answered on the show. This week's winner is...
Darkclaw643 from Twitter. What are the major differences pitching a new character to Sega during the Archie and IDW eras? Any differences? Is one better than the other, or mostly the same? Also, thanks for recommending Taka.
Hey, thank you for reading. If you don't know, Taka is the original manga by Ryan Jampol, who you if you're listening to this show, you most likely know him from the Archie Mega Man run.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenal artist. Love working with him. IDW put out his massive tome of a original action comedy mecha fighter, kind of almost slice of lifey in a way. Yeah, it's great. I love my copy. Go grab one right now.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes, go check it out. It's very cool.
Pitching original characters was completely different between the two. With Archie, it was entirely internal. It was, does the editor like it? And are we all on board with it? Put it in the book, go. With IDW, everything goes through Sega. So the designs you see for Tangle, Whisper, Mimic, all them, they all went through Sega for notes, revisions, and final decisions.
Alrighty. And we got this question here from Rabbit Haver. I'm composing this question while on the drive home to Colorado from Utah. We have taken the I-80 route through Wyoming, which is a desolate hellscape wasteland. There is nothing to look at except scrubland and desert, and this will be my future for the next 6 hours. It's not even green, man. I'm about to start chewing on the upholstery. So I had various Sonic characters handle the world's emptiest road trip. Who snaps and starts eating the car seats, and who's able to zone out? Who wants to stop at every single tourist trap? Does Silver get homesick for Crisis City? Personally, I'd prefer that over this.
No, Silver would enjoy the majesty of nature.
The very, very flat majesty of nature.
After you confirm that, no, it's supposed to look like this, then it's fascinating.
Yeah, true. It's like, wow, everywhere I live, it looks like this. Back home.
Knuckles would be fine. I mean, he sits in front of the Master Emerald 24/7, staring out into space. All he sees is clouds. At least here's their scrub brush. This is fascinating. So Knuckles and Silver road trip, they're fine. Amy is going to do her best to break out the boredom. She's got the playlist set, she's got the car games figured out, but I Spy has 3 targets on this ride. She will eventually crack, and they will need to do something, some detour, some point of interest, whatever. Tails, I think, would be all right for the most part, but he would also eventually get stir crazy because you're on the road. You can't fly in the car. Not this car. His car could, but his car's back in the garage. He's on the road trip, and he's already won every round of I Spy that Amy put out there, and he's getting real tired of Silver talking about how interesting the bushes are, and it's really infuriating that Knuckles agrees every time. He would love a pit stop somewhere, anywhere, please. A candy bar just to change the input into his brain.
Sonic's
not riding.
Huh?
Sonic's not riding along. Sonic is bored. He goes out for a run, comes back.
I was going to say, yeah. Either that or
he... Like, Amy's like, there's a rest stop in 30 miles. He's like, I'll check. It's closed.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Otherwise, he's taped down to his seat, because otherwise he'd be like completely just no one. He could not get him to come back.
And Surge is chewing on the upholstery, but that's just because she loves wrecking things. Is the Sonic's car?
And Surge is chewing on the upholstery because, well, that's what she would be doing regardless.
Well, it's Amy's car? Whatever. She already started.
Yeah. Also, I had to ask when Rabbit Haver sent in this question, I had to ask them, why were they driving through Wyoming to get from Utah to Colorado? And apparently the answer is that it's a much flatter and straighter route, less car sick. You get less car sickness than driving through the mountains. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it's like, that seems very out of the way to go up through Wyoming to get from Utah to Colorado. But it makes sense. That's why I was like very confused by this when I got it. I'm like, you took the very long way around. It's like, oh, okay.
I'm the type of guy who'll take 3 right turns if it means it's a less stressful way to not do one bad left turn. Yeah. So I'm with Rabbit Haver on this one.
But apparently it is actually faster and more efficient, which makes some sense, I guess. Mountain driving is not
the route to go.
Mountain driving is not very efficient for sure. Yeah, no.
Oh no. Mountain driving's terrifying, and I've only gone through the Appalachians.
Man,
through the Rockies. Nah.
I love mountain driving. It's super fun for me, but I'm just a weirdo like that. I like to do that. I'm here for the 2 gay runs. Anyway, Reggins has a question. The Soul Emeralds send a blaze to the Sonic Boomiverse, where everyone's goofy. How does she fit in if she's stuck there until the Soul Emeralds let her leave?
I don't think she fits in so much as she learns to acclimatize.
She gets used to this version of Sonic that's surprisingly stupider than the normal one. Way more relaxed, but also like, dude, what's wrong with you?
In a different way. And Knuckles is not how she remembers. Amy is, well, there's traits that are similar, but there's also traits that are not. And when did Tails get this attitude? And why isn't Marine speaking with an Australian accent? Wait, that sticks? Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, look, Ian, just because the franchise now has at least 3 female characters that all have the same color palette doesn't mean they're all the same person.
You mean the orange and brown marked girl who likes to build her own devices and is incredibly energetic?
Shut up.
Eggman tries to invade and she's about to just flambe him, and the other's going, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't need to go that far. It's fine. And Eggman's kind of just cowering there on the beach. She was so mean to me. She blew up my pod. She burned my coat. I think I might even have a rash under there. Okay. Eggman, take him that burger as a consolation, okay? And she's just baffled.
You gotta realize, yeah. It'll take her a while to figure out that, like, this version of Eggman is not really a threat. So I guess then it would help her kind of understand why the Sonic characters are the way they are, why the crew is the way they are, because Eggman is the way he is. They're not really taking this whole thing seriously because they don't need to. So,
and she's finally kind of made peace with how this world works, but she can't go back. That must mean there's a purpose for her to be here, and she can't figure it out, and she's starting to get depressed because it's relaxing here, sure, but there's nothing for her to do.
Yeah.
What was her grand reason for being sent here? And then Dave's like, oh, grease fire. And she's like, I got it. Puts it out. Whoosh, back to her homeworld.
And there she goes. Yep, she's out. Got another Boom episode in the bag. Come on. We can do this. We have literally like several seasons worth of pitches. Let us do it. Let us cook somebody. I don't know who. Somebody. Bring back Sonic Boom as a comic. Come on. And we got a question from Sammy. I'm afraid I have to pull a dad and get milk, so I'm going to ask one last question before leaving. How long did it take for you to land your first role as a writer? Did you have any struggles that you believed help? I mainly asked since I graduated in CS in 2022 and can't land anything due to the awful job market. So I'm curious if your situation was similar to mine. I may be back at some point, but for now, I wish you good luck in the future.
Same to you, Sammy. Thank you for your support and wish you all the best. As for me, it took 4 years to break into the business, most of which I received no feedback at all. Not even a rejection letter, just radio silence.
Yeah.
And that's somehow worse. At least with a rejection letter, you can be like, I'll show them all. But like absolute nothing. It's like, I don't even warrant a no thank you. So it's hard. It's really hard. Even today or these days, I can go months where nobody needs me. And the imposter syndrome kicks in real hard.
I need you, Ian. It's okay.
Have I been winging it for 20 years? Have I just been lucky? Did people finally catch on and they moved on to better things? And then, the replies come and stuff moves forward. And it's like, oh, wait, no, I can actually afford food again. That's nice. So it's extremely disheartening. The emotional roller coaster is not great, but I also love what I do. So everything comes with a price. And if this is what you really want to do with yourself and your career and your skills, then stick to it. You will catch your break eventually. Don't know when, don't know how. It might be small, might start out in a way that you didn't expect or didn't necessarily want, but it leads to better things. I can't tell you. The future isn't written. But if you give up, that's the end. That's all she wrote. So keep at it.
Well, BumbleKast will always need you, Ian. So I'll always need you. So you can at least take solace in that.
people keep buying questions, so I'm always going to need BumbleKast.
That's right. And we got a question from Sillytron. I've heard that Sonic Speed Simulator is canon from the devs. Is that true? If you can't answer, that's okay.
It is not, as far as I am aware.
It is canon to itself.
Yes, and more power to them.
Yes. Question from Sleepy. Every good asker of questions has a theme to said questions, so my theme is going to be about themes. How would you reimagine some of the Sonic characters and Eggman in a Wild West themed world? I guess this could also be a Wild West Shatter Space, but I like how I themed it better.
And we'll just go ahead and assume it's the romanticized silver screen version of the Wild West.
Oh, of course, yes. Back to the Future 3 style Wild West.
Yeah.
Not the actual Wild West, because that sucked real bad.
I'm imagining Eggman is the corrupt sheriff of this one flicky town. And let's see. Knuckles is the gruff bartender. And Amy is the matron of the house. The saloon is the only fun place in all of town.
Mm-hmm.
Tails is the local blacksmith who shoes all the horses.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what he did in Black Knight too,
Shadow is the grim enforcer under Sheriff Eggman because he brings law and order until that lone hedgehog rolls into town and stirs up trouble, until Sonic points out that the way that this town is run isn't just. Everyone's oppressed. They can barely leave that saloon. Can't walk 10 feet without running into one of them spittoon motobugs.
Is Blaze like an Annie Oakley type character? Or is that Whisper? Whisper might be more that.
Yeah. And then Shadow has his turnaround and they go face off against mean old Sheriff Eggman, who attacks on a giant mechanical spider.
Of course he does. It into the Wild Wild West. Cowboys and aliens, yo. Black arms. Here we go.
Yippee-ki-yay. And really what Sheriff Eggman wanted was to scare everybody out of town so he could get the deeds and go into that their Chaos Emerald mine that he can't otherwise get to.
Yes. Oh. Why wasn't this a thing? Why didn't they do this during the storybook era? They could have easily done this. Well, missed opportunities. Sonic Sword Fighter has a question. Could the metal virus affect Mephiles, or would his powers or darkness and ability to turn into evil goo protect him?
I don't think he could. Let me actually say that in a way that makes sense.
Let's clarify.
I don't think he could be infected because I don't think he's tangible enough.
Is he alive enough? Is he like...
He's a shadow beastie. I don't think it would work on him. At most, I could imagine Shadow purposefully trying to infect him just to stop him. And Mephiles is, dramatically groaning and twisting and contorting as he turns all silvery goo, and then it just kind of slurps to the floor and he laughs at him.
It's kind of like Metal Sonic, except less tragic and more terrifying. Spoiler 1001 has a question. If Sonic remembers dying in 06, does he know what hit him?
I think it's funnier if he doesn't.
Does he remember dying or knows what hit him?
Knows what hit him. Last thing he remembers, he was just having a nice jaunt with Elise, and then, whoa, something hit him. Boom. That wasn't nice. Oh, now he's alive again and he's super. Oh, there's an evil god? Okay, we'll take care of that.
Everything went home dark for a bit. I don't know what happened there.
Resets time. He's back in Soliana. It's wonder what that weird thing was. Oh, well. He has zero clue what Mephiles is.
I like how nobody told him.
Well, nobody really got the chance. He was super, and he killed God, and then he came back to life in a different timeline. And
I guess that's true. No one else remembers. That's right.
Nobody had time to tell him.
No one else remembers that it happened, so there was no one there to tell him. Oh no!
I don't think he got did Shadow tell him about Mephiles when they were all trapped in the future? I don't remember now.
Sonic is Sonic the only one who remembers? The Shadow and Silver, they don't remember any of it.
Well, whether or not
Silver
Sonic remembers whether or not Sonic remembers is still kind of a question mark. Nobody else does, though.
Okay. I thought it was Sonic and Blaze who remembered, but I could be wrong. Blaze might.
At most, back in the original release of Generations, Blaze feels a kind of familiarity with Crisis City.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know what it is. So.
Yeah.
No, from what I remember, I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments below. I could be wrong, but I don't think Sonic ever was introduced to Mephiles. I don't think he ever met Mephiles. And the one interaction, he gets shanked from behind, so he still doesn't see Mephiles.
He's never seen Mephiles in his life.
That's funny.
I don't know who that is.
I hope I'm right, because that's funny.
That's very funny. I mean, I don't know if there's any other way you can spin it. I don't know, unless Sonic's got eyes in the back of his head, which, I mean, I don't know. Sonic physiology is weird enough that it could be that. Sprites Forever has a question. After another flash of isekai magic, Sonic characters are transferred to another classic public domain piece of literature. Tails takes the spotlight as Sherlock Tales in 1800s UK with Dr. Watts Sonic. How does it go, and do they solve the mystery of the robot of Baskerville?
This is probably the most fun Watson's ever been in, which is probably sacrilege to say, but you know, and a decidedly older and considerably sassier Watson.
Yeah,
to Holmes.
I mean, it's like, I guess it's like House.
Yeah, maybe.
The Watson analog in House was pretty sassy. Eventually, it took him a while.
Yeah, but he was also just he was such a nice guy, though.
I mean,
not saying Sonic isn't nice, but it's different. It's different.
Yeah, he's a nice guy at first, but then, you know, House got to him like House got to everybody else in that show. Anyway, that's true. House, but House is replaced with Sonic. Go. No, I'm kidding. Let's do that. Someone else asked that question. This is a different one.
But, you know, Sherlock Tales is doing his investigations, and he's being very ponderous and thoughtful and thinking out loud, and Watts Sonic is just kind of following around, chilling out, asking the occasional question prompt, and then, you know, Sherlock's like, I've got it! Explanation, and Watts Sonic's like, yeah, totally saw that. Yeah, I got it. You're so smart. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? Not a thing.
No idea. No clue.
Is Eggman Moriarty in this, or is that boring? I mean, it's the rival genius, and he is evil. And there would be a certain satisfaction of this big, intimidating, mad scientist supervillain being foiled by such a young detective. Yeah, we'll go with Eggman being Moriarty.
Yeah.
More Eggyarty.
Well, there you go, I guess. All right, we got a question here from Steph Cube. Don't you think Amy's strength is too inconsistent? I mean, at one point, we see her in the comics lifting a stupidly big hammer to crush a robot, but we also know that in the game Sonic Battle and Sonic X, she easily lost against Rouge. Not to mention that in battle, Sonic told Emerald that the punches Amy had taught him were too weak, and the comics are supposed to be canon to the games, and X was how Sega of Japan saw the characters at the time. So, what happens? Is it that her strength simply changes at the convenience of the script?
So, number one, Amy didn't lift the hammer all by herself. She had Silver's help with that one. Like, there's a whole sequence devoted to that with pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, Battle's canon is a trifle fuzzy anyway, but you could easily hand wave Sonic's statement as just bravado. 3X isn't canon, and you can't retroactively apply that going forward because the series has moved on since then. And 4, the series is still developing. You know, saying she's too inconsistent now would still apply to back in X or just after X or at any point in the franchise, really, when you want to try to nail something down. So,
yeah.
Ultimately, stay tuned.
All right. Question from Super Luigi 018. In issue 83 of Archie Sonic, Sonic uses the 7 Super Emeralds, not Chaos Emeralds, to become Super Sonic and fight Perfect Chaos. But in issue 71, with only 1 Super Emerald, he became Super Sonic and later Ultra Sonic, plus Eco, Solar, and Polar after that? Why didn't he go Ultra?
Lack of editorial oversight.
Want consistency in my Sonic the Hedgehog? No.
And see, like, when he went through all the different forms with the one Super Emerald, I know there was an overlap in terms because that was not the proper Ultrasonic. Ultrasonic is a ring transformation. And in the Adventure adaptation, I think there were regular Chaos Emeralds in the mix. And that the Super Emeralds were called the Seven Servers because they were a special group of Chow. And I just remember when I was writing the big Archie encyclopedia guide to it, and I got to that point, that was a gigantic headache trying to parse out anything solid from it. So there is no good explanation for it. It was just sloppy.
Well, wouldn't be the first time.
That's not entirely fair.
Okay.
Because from what I heard, the Adventure adaptation was kind of foisted upon the creative team at the time, and they had almost no material to work off of. So they were flying out of the seat of their pants under a tight deadline.
Yeah.
So there were going to be weird flubs anyway. And this was during the period where Sega of Japan was doing the brand reconsolidation and pushing more of the Japanese narrative and retiring a lot of the Western narrative. So that was a huge transition period. So it makes sense that there were bumps in the road.
Yeah, and also they apparently did not have the Dreamcast. They didn't have a Dreamcast. They didn't have any notes or anything for Sonic Adventure, but were tasked with adapting Sonic Adventure somehow. So
yeah.
What they had to do was, what was it? Patrick Spaziante had to import a Dreamcast and the Japanese version of Sonic Adventure and try to figure things out from that.
Yeah, from the story I heard was that Patrick Spaziante imported the game, played with English subtitles, and recorded it on his VHS tapes. Recorded on the VCR with his VHS tapes. God, it's been so long since that we had that physical media. And distributed that to the team. Yeah. That's the story I heard. I don't know. I got that like second or third hand best. Take it with a grain of salt. But were
there English subtitles? I didn't think there were English subtitles in that version. I don't know.
I think so. I think there was like an international release that was more or less the same, and that the US version was, I'm pretty sure it was English. I mean, otherwise they would have been working off of pure Japanese, and nobody on the team knew Japanese.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is if they had just like kind of winged it because they couldn't understand the game.
There were too many story details here and there. Like, they wouldn't have known to use the Seven Server specific unless that came as notes from Sega at the time. I don't know. Anyway, the point I'm ultimately making here is it's very easy to critique when, it's 10, 20 years after the fact. Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, more than that.
So I should mind what I say and not be too judgmental, because I know that the best intentions can be derailed by factors.
Oh, yes. All right. The Cyberspace Coco has a question. Enerjack Reborn, but with Boom Knuckles as Enerjack instead of Archie Knuckles. You can just put him in the Archie-verse, keep him in the Boom-verse, or do both. What would Boom Knuckles do with all that power? How would the cast respond? And in what way would reality be forever altered?
I imagine it's got to start off uncharacteristically serious. That Boom Energy Knuckles is actually a terrifying force, reshaping the island, just completely upending Eggman's base. And the team is ready for a throwdown fight. And he descends before them and takes off the helmet. I was like, hey, guys.
Yeah, he's fine.
And, otherwise he's kind of chilling out. He's hanging out with everybody. He's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then, Dave gets the order wrong. The helmet goes back on. He asked for no pickles.
Oh, boy.
A wave of energy just blasts the entire Mad Burger. Everyone turns to Six, and she's like, what? It's like, if anybody's going to know how Knuckles came across some kind of ancient arcane energy, it's going to be you. And she doesn't know whether to be flattered or insulted by that insinuation, but yes, actually, she does have the perfect explanation for this. Get into a boomatized version of Interjack and that legend, and I don't know, maybe it's a Mixia Spitlix thing. They just got to get him to say his name backwards 3 times.
Which, given Knuckles in Boom, pretty easy or hard? I don't know. It actually could go either way. Now that I think about it.
Hey, Knuckles, what? Can you say your name backwards? Of course I can. Can you prove it? I don't feel like it. Hey, Knuckles, what does this say? And it's his name spelled backwards. I don't know.
I can't read, remember?
You can't read? You're a god, but you can't read. Are you judging me? No. Let me get your burger without pickles.
Oh, boy. If only you could have done that at the time. And we got one from the Oddly Roger. Gentlemen, thank you for granting me an audience with you today. All that I am asking is that I may present a case for this question to be featured as the thumbnail to this episode. Slides over $5. Do we have a Bumble bribe?
You, sir, have paid the Bumble cost. Really, you should have slid the money over to Kyle because he's the one who manages the thumbnails. I'm going to take it and run. We'll see what the thumbnail is in the end.
Twilord has a question. In the Green Lantern mythos, indigo rings are odd. They target people who lack compassion and imbue them with it. As fun as it is to picture Black Doom, Zavok, and Eggman as a branch of that tribe, if the other rings did that, how would their arrival affect Sonic's world?
They'd kind of go hungry because most people on Sonic's world are compassionate.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from a handful of ne'er-do-wells, it's a utopia otherwise.
Well, there's Gun. Gun doesn't seem very compassionate.
No, but they seem to be mostly dumb.
Yeah, they're
just following orders.
I suppose.
Like, at most, it goes on to the commander's finger, and he's like, maybe I shouldn't send a giant truck to run everybody's cars over. Okay, moderate approach, then.
Maybe I shouldn't cause this much property damage just over the stupid blue hedgehog. Just kidding. Oh, Twilord's asking if the other rings did that. Hope, anger, and such. Not specifically indigo rings, I guess. But then why would you bring up the indigo rings? I'm a little confused.
You saying the other rings are bringing their emotions and bestowing them onto people?
Yeah.
The other rings just come to those who embody those traits.
Yeah.
So are you saying that
if the other rings... Okay, under the rules, if the other rings also acted like the indigo rings. Okay, I think that's what they mean.
Okay, well, then that depends on what the number of rings are and how many people get affected. It's going to be bedlam one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because, who gets a fear ring? Who gets a rage ring? Who gets a hope ring? Who gets a willpower ring?
Who gets a greed ring? Who becomes a Wario?
Like, is it an even distribution around the world? Is it targeting people who need these traits? I mean, there's, 6 of them? 7 of them? Did they differentiate between indigo and violet? I
don't know. Although a bit of irony, a bit of a coincidence there that there's 7 of them.
I don't know. It's like you got at least 6 different variables here coming in at a global scale. I don't know how to approach that. What direction should I go in?
Chaos. Always chaos. And we got one last question. It's from Vineclad. Whatever happened to Breeze? Odd how no one brings up that Amy has her own Herbie the Love Bug. Why the sigh, Ian?
Because I'm torn. Because on the one hand, it's like, yeah, Breeze showed up once. This is like so minuscule and off to the side. Why do we care? And on the other hand, it's like, no, they bring up a good point.
This is literally this whole thing. I would the whole thing about this story. This whole show is about people bringing up weird things that only happened once.
And I would do an entire story devoted to Breeze.
Absolutely.
Like, that's 110% hypocritical on my part.
Yes, it absolutely is. What the heck is wrong with you?
Well, you know what? Maybe the next time we get a classic story and Amy's in it, maybe Breeze will show up. I don't know.
Good. Make it happen, Flynn.
I mean, we haven't had the classic chaotics yet. They kind of take priority over the car.
Uh-huh. You say that. You say that. Anyway.
Maybe Amy took it into the shop to the mechanics and Heavy and Bomb just stole it and went on a joyride. They're actually working for Eggman after all. Except they bond on the road trip, looking at all the sagebrush as they drive through not Wyoming, and now they're just driving away off into the sunset. There you go.
Okay. Although apparently Breeze is sitting outside of her house in Amy's comic.
Yeah, there was the cameo, but I don't think anybody called attention to it.
Yeah, but I'm guessing Breeze at least maybe still exists somewhere. Yes. Anyway, that's it. That's all we got for this episode.
Thank you to all our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members for supporting the show with your funds and your questions. If you want to be as cool as them, do what they do. Join one of those. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Take care, everybody. See you next time. I don't know. Put it in your car. Do it in your car.
Welcome to the Bumble Car. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Wildcat, and I'm driving to you, raising up my data bill through the roof as I do Q&A and run this red light.
Okay. Don't drive.
You taking all my fun ideas away.
I am no fun. I am the no fun guy.
Mr. SWAT-bot pounding a sign into the ground, Kyle.
No fun allowed. Welcome to the Bumble Car. Let's see if we make this jump.
Hey, welcome to the Bumble Car. Let's make some crazy money.
Yeah.
Just me singing Offspring for an hour.
Yeah. Bumble crazy taxi. AC all the time, all day, full whack. I mean, that's just me. That's just that's me driving. It was literally I pretty much always have the AC on. It don't matter. It could be like near freezing in January and I'll have the AC on.
Well, you need to have air circulating.
I do.
And warm air, it's awful. So yeah, AC.
I do. I do need to have air circulating, or I will just absolutely it's gross. It's yuck. No.
You need to have the AC to the level where you have to turn it down to make it drive through order, because you can't hear otherwise.
Exactly.
That's the kind of AC you need.
That's the kind of AC I prefer. Yeah, otherwise I would be like a freaking sauna just on my own. You were cold? Yeah, good. You're welcome. Because you weren't when you got out of the car. I guarantee you that. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. We need a thumbnail for that one that just happened, but not this one, so it's all good.
And the Oddly Roger did bribe his way to be the thumbnail, so.
Did he? I thought the dinosaurs were the thumbnail. I don't know.
Maybe it's just me gabbing about dinosaurs while Oddly Roger cries with a $5 bill.
I don't know what Oddly Roger's question was that they were referring to. Was it the question of asking if their question could be the thumbnail?
Yeah, so I imagine what they want is a thumbnail of them like sliding us $5 in the office.
Yeah, I guess so. Bribe the dinosaurs, I guess.
Maybe that's it. Is Oddly Roger is paying you off while I'm in the background just playing with dinosaurs, going.
I mean, that's pretty funny, but nah.
Also depends on if Oddly Roger has an avatar of some kind. I don't know.
I think it's the Oddly Roger, like it's a Jolly Roger, but it's odd. I don't know.
So what? There's like a 3 and a 5 in there. I don't know.
I have no idea. I know nothing.